Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And well, I want to talk a little bit about the Hobbes reorganization project that I'm doing. So there has been a lot of hate that I will explain it, and I will explain how this is working. Okay. So.
Ready for the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Go for the screen. Before going to the Hobbes organization project, I just want to give you a quick reminder of some of the projects that we're working on OS2World, me and well, some people that collaborate also. The main OS2World webpage is what we started on the year 2000. It has the OS2 news. We have an online forum, like the basic service. We have the chat room that is available on this technology called Matrix, that is the server, and Element, that is the client. Element used to work on Firefox, but it got updated and it stopped working. Now Element is working with some kind of boogie, but is working on the double scope, right?
Yeah.
Double browser. Okay, so we got chat, and we have the mailing list with groups.io. That the mailing list was something like, since Yahoo groups disappeared, we moved quickly to groups.io mailing list, and everybody from the Yahoo, from people that still remain on Yahoo, moved to that mailing list. We have like a group called Warp that is for news, and a subgroup that is Warp Technical that replaced Ecom Station Technical from the days of Yahoo groups. Okay? And next thing, I have the OS2World Wiki, where I try to put all the OS2 documentation I can find. If I find something, I put it there, or I link it there, and try to put everything related to OS2 that is not related to software development. So we have like tutorials, hardware reports, software descriptions, all newsletters, we put it there. I have courseware. Is right? Is my pronunciation is right?
Good enough.
Yeah, is good enough. Courseware. That is the material that IBM used to handle on the official training. So, and I put that on red because I'm still looking for more courseware. Yeah. I have requested permission to IBM to release that to the public, and they have given me permission. They have no issue. Every time I find some of that, we have to scan it first. Usually we have it on paper. So we have to scan it first. I send it to the IBM lawyers, and they reply me like in 2 weeks. There is no issue because it's discontinued material that they no longer profit from it. Okay, so I'm looking for more of that material. And well, those two World Wiki, that's the website. And I also collaborate with the EBM2, that is the Electronic Developer Magazine, that is now a wiki on NetLab. And this is all related to software development on OS2. It has tutorials, API, specifications, samples, and etc., etc. Everything that is OS2 development related goes to this wiki. Okay?
That's accessible from OS2World?
This is available on, EBM2 is available on the NetLab server. So it's a service that NetLabs provide, and I'm currently have some privilege on the wiki to change things and move things around. But Adrian is the one, is like the webmaster for this site. Okay? So, and the other thing is the OS2World Github. Here's where every piece of source code I can find related to OS2, I just stick it to the GitHub, and well, some people call it like a graveyard for source code, but because it doesn't mean like the 2000 repositories are active. But the good thing is that the source code is more available. It can be searchable, and it can be indexed online so it can be found. So it has like more visibility, and like everybody likes the good JIT for storing source code. Okay, so I try to put everything that is legally possible, available there in the GitHub. Okay. And now let's go into the subject. This is the I have been working on reorganizing the files inside Hobbes. Hobbes is our repository for binary files where people download applications and get the software. So who died and made you Hobbes game? Well, sadly nobody. Yeah, I have the same access to Hobbes like everybody else. I just need to upload the file and the TXT file, just like everybody, to reorganize. I have a polite and good relation with the archiver. I send some emails from time to time, but I don't have any kind of special access. When I started, I wanted to see if I can have like access to the database to change the data more easily, more fast, but I never got a reply. So I started just uploading the files and the TXT files with it. Okay? Okay, some history. I started to kind of organizing some drivers on Hobbes on 2018. Why? Because there were like there are some kind of retro collectors that nobody's here on those retro collectors. Yeah, that wanted to run OS2, an older version of OS2 on some specific old hardware. And they say, okay, I want this driver. They say, oh, let's try this driver for Hobbes. They say, no, this driver is too new. It's for Warp 4, for Warp 3, and I need something from OS2 2 or 1.2. Because there, and I understand like that you need to have like the collection of all older drivers. We are like the people that like to use Arca OS or OS2 on the latest machine that we can find. But there are people that like to have the retro computer as it was in the 80s and 90s. Okay? So I started to notice that you have to store the old drivers and all the history from those drivers. And that's why I started to upload some things on Hobbes. I've got some criticism for uploading some old stuff. So I tried to put, okay, let's put the versions, the dates, so people know that if they find like 3 similar drivers, which one is the newer, so they can get the newer. And I started to adapt how I'm going to name those files. And later, in the pandemic, I found the need to organize my own collection of files. So I say, why just organize my file here on my hard drive if I can put it on Hobbes and try also to organize Hobbes. And in 2021, I started to organize the application file little by little, but I was still holding back so I can consolidate the idea. And on May of 2021, I started and announced my intentions to reorganize Hobbes. And well, I got like a lot of pushback there, but I think we find some way of collaborating on the OS2World forum. Okay, so first, before starting, I took a full backup of Hobbes and put it on the Internet Archive. So I archived Hobbes just like it was later and put all the files there so people can find it if something got screwed up. Okay? And
How did you do that?
What?
How did you do that?
It was like this program that copies the website, all the HTTP files, and it grabs all the zip files. So I have it there on my hard drive, and then with BitTorrent, I uploaded to the archive.org because I needed like BitTorrent to upload like a big chunk of data there. So I uploaded it. Hubs at that time were like 14 gigabytes. Yeah. It's nothing for standards now. It was something. Okay. Oh, I'm moving too fast. Yeah, before starting, right? So one issue with Hobbes was the file names, okay? So checking the file, just the file name, do you really know that this file is the Lexmark supplement utilities for IBM laser printer? Just by checking the file name. So, and many other manufacturers that make drivers also just send the drivers as warp.zip. That's the driver. So there was a need to rename the files, and it was a very controversial choice because sometimes you have articles, you have things that refer to these crazy files, this crazy name that nobody understands. So this one was of the hard choices that had to be done. And also why I did that, because also Hobbes had a lot like duplicated files and have the same file on some category, another file in some category. And it was hard to know the application, like I told you before, by name, just by the name of the file, and know what version it is and what release it is just by watching the file name. It was very hard. And the directory classification was there. There was some text here that is not showing, but no, it's something of the configuration. But yes, the directory classification, it has a category called Internet. Yeah, when we start with the Internet, it's like Internet was a very limited thing. You have like Internet, oh yeah, we have the email, we have HTTP, we have FTP, we have like Telnet, and that was the Internet. Yeah.
You got Gopher.
And Gopher, and we have Gopher, and Archie that I never used that, I'm not sure what Archie is for, but that was the Internet. Then it starts evolving, and now like everything connects to the Internet, every application, even if doing some basic stuff, it connects to the Internet to try to get a newer version, to check some stuff. So the Internet category doesn't make any sense, and I try to make like a classification according to what the software does. Yeah, like file sharing, like file transfer, or finance, science, religions, something like that. I try to keep. Well, Hobbes already had a very good classification for software, so I keep on that and try to improve it a little bit. Well, some remarks about the process. The process of updating files is very slow. Like I told you, I don't have any special access to Hobbes. I just need to upload the file and the TXT file and check the files one by one, because I need to know what is there. So there is no automation. There is not any kind of automation or anything that can help me. And the second thing that is boring as hell. Yeah, I have to check each file and upload it, and there's stuff that I don't even understand of doing. Like, I'm not one of the guys that used BBS on the past with modems. So there was BBS. There's stores. I don't know all the stuff with BBS, and well, I'm still trying to reorganize that, and it's very boring checking file by file that sometimes you don't even know what it does. And there's one general rule, or several general rules that were defined on the discussion on the forum. One was that Hobbes will only have the latest version of the software. Yeah, so I'm not going to have on Hobbes like DFC version 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you have it, I guess, in your hard drive. Not
all of them. No.
But I think the mic is on the other side. And so it was defined that Hobbes will only have like the latest version, and we'll apply some exceptions, like for drivers, we will have like the history of drivers for the moment. We'll also have some exceptions when you have like the last version, but it's not as stable as the previous one. So you have to keep the previous one and the last until some consensus show up and say, okay, we're ready. We're not going to, Firefox 45, there has to be also Firefox 30 because it's more stable, blah, 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 and let's have both versions until we have like something that we call stable, yeah? So like Firefox, for example, is an exception that say, okay, let's keep some versions of Firefox there. And the idea is to have a different or future repository trying to include all versions of software, but beside Hobbes. So we're going to have Hobbes with the latest version of the software, and maybe with some other site to have like everything for OS2, all the versions like from 1 to 12, 1, 2, and 3, and going on. So we can store also that so we can preserve also that history of software applications. Okay. Also, some rules in the naming that I have to create, so I can have like a standard rule. So I want to replace the idea of the 8.3 file name that was for DOS and change the part of the 8 and try to call it like the full name and the version number, right? So 1-08 is 1.08, and if I don't have the version number, I will put the date. Yeah, it's a longer file, but it will give you at the first sight, it will give you like the date, and you will know if when it was updated and if it's newer than the one that you are using. Okay. And about the /2 names, we have a lot of that. So I put just the 2 here, okay, without the slash, right? So that's it. And I choose to use case sensitive for the names, so it can be like more visual. It has a very visual thing to have the case sensitive to see that's bubble path, for example, okay? Another thing, well, and there is some other crazy stuff there, like some people didn't use versions and didn't use also the date for version, but they use like planets. So this is the Saturn edition, this is the Jupiter edition, and which one is newer? It's because of if the planet is bigger, so it should be the newer? No. So I had to check the dates, but well, there are some crazy stuff sometimes. It happens. Okay? And try also to do the short description and the script. Well, there was an issue that sometimes the short description didn't tell you anything. Like this program is not freeware, and not public domain, it's shareware. And no, I don't need to know that. I need to know the software description, what it does. So yeah, so I choose to put on description, on short description, the name, the version, and the date, the last update date for that software, okay? So you can see quickly the name, the version, and when it was released. And for long description, I included like the short description first and the longer description later, okay? So I have like, well, 9 lines give you multiple desktops in the OS2World shell, and then all the blah, 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 this is the best software in the world, blah, blah, blah. And also I try to include, if it has the binaries, source code on both. So you will see on how something says includes source codes and binaries, and also the license. And it's open source under this license, or it's freeware or shareware. So the question is, do we all understand what freeware means and what shareware means and what open source means? In fact, it can represent anything, because I have found software that say you can use this software free as a charge. So you say, oh, it's freeware, but you cannot use it for commercial use. So, and I'm putting this software as shareware. So it's freeware that the author called it shareware. Okay, so sometimes those definitions are not very clear. Usually we think that freeware is, I can use it for free for individual use, but I cannot use it for commercial use. But there is freeware that is free for both. So we need always to see the definition of what the author really wants. Okay? And Okay. This is another example for all description addresses standardized. Quick description, longer description, license, and all file name. Oh, that's important. Here's an example of QE. QE is a simple editor rules modeled after IBM editors and Auto Learners AE.
Yeah.
It was developed by Alex right here.
Yeah.
So that's the short description. Then the longer description is writing using Qt4, blah, 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 open source on their GNU GPL version 3 license. And here I'm putting the name of the original file name. Why? Because, like I told you, there was some like backfire that we shouldn't lose this original name, because sometimes some articles, some tutorials refer to this old name, so you can download the file. And this old name can be anything like crazy that doesn't mean anything to the to which software you're downloading. And I also try to include and maintain the old developer name, old emails, and even the dead links. Why I choose to remain the old URL there? Because the dead links can be also used with the Wayback Machine to try to recover the website. So I didn't want it to remove that information from Hobbes, because I still think it is important. And also the directory structure. Like I told you before, there was like these categories that doesn't make sense anymore, like internet. Even there is TCP/IP that I'm not sure it should be a category, because everything is also running on TCP/IP. Yeah. So I also expand some of the categories. Like there was too much inside on utilities and workplace shell. So I say, okay, this big chunk of software is for multi-user. Multi-user is that you have a user and password and divide the desktop. So that chunk of software is going to go to a new category called multi-user, and there was another chunk of several software that was for wallpaper. So let's put it on a different category that's called wallpaper, and let's not make the workplace shell directory so big. So I tried to also spread out that files. Also on file, it was too big, so I chose file difference and file search. Okay? And like I told you before, I have some criticism. One is changing the original name. So that's why I choose to remain with the original name at the last part of the description under parentheses. Yeah. And people complaining that we'll be creating more dead links. In fact, there is the places with OS2 articles, the websites are disappearing. So I don't think it will create more dead links than what we already have. And there was also some people on the forum telling that that even Hobbes broke all the links when they changed it to their structure some years ago. So, well, it will not create more dead links, this reorganization. And some others told me that reorganization will be the doom of Hobbes, but well, for the moment I haven't seen that. Yeah. And this is how, no, you don't need to read it. It's just to check the structure, how it visually looks. This is how the action game categories looks at Hobbes with the file names and the descriptions that were like, sometimes have very short description or too long to put it there. So after I reorganize it, it is more like short. This is assumed. I have like the standard for file naming and the description when I put the last update date of each file, so people can also know that this is from 96, this is from 2020. So this is how it can be reorganized. Okay. And this is how some sample looks like. The description is now the name, the version, and the update date. Yeah, and in the long description I put all what this game is about, blah, 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 blah. And it's open source on the GPL version 3 license and the original file name, so it can be like search or found there. Okay? The issue with Hobbes, I forgot to tell you, is that you only have one date, that is the upload date. So you don't know if it's something new or old. So when I started to upload some stuff on Hobbes, I had the problem that people believe it was something new, but I was uploading something that was from '93. So they told me, why are you uploading this old stuff? And so that's why I choose to always put the date there, so people can know, oh, this is old. Yeah? And don't get expectations that Stardock is updating their software. It's just, I uploaded a patch from the '93, and people will say, oh, it's a new thing from Stardock. No, there's nothing new from them. Okay? And what are the next steps? I'm getting close to the end. Just like it's as boring as hell, uploading files is also boring. This presentation is also very boring. Because it's all the rules that I had to define to do this. So the idea is try to consolidate the latest version of each OS2 software on Hobbes. Yeah, we have like, I don't know, we have some version on Hobbes, and I have to check with the developer to see if that's the latest one, and try to update it. Hobbes has some older versions there. So I already have the list of developers that I'm going to check. I'm going to update every file. I already finished your website, Alex.
Oh, thanks.
So everything that you have on your website is already on Hobbes, but I have to go developer by developer. Okay, and I still need to work on this category that is informational. The documentation is still a mess. DOS software that is some kind related to OS2 has to be also organized. Windows tools that are also related to OS2, and Java tools that runs on OS2 also has to be reorganized there. And I'm going to try to use the same category I'm using for OS2 software. And later I'm going to try to create the second repository, the outside hub that is going to have all the software history. Okay? So that's all I have for the moment. And some final notes, an important note. I try to communicate and discuss as much as possible on the OS2World forum about the changes and decisions that are being made while I reorganize Hobbes. And it can be discussed constantly on the forums of where should I put this, how should do that. What is this thing? Yeah, that's a common question. What does this software does? And I'm trying to get suggestions and feedback from it. Also, it is important that no matter what I have organized or what these crazy rules I have created for Hobbes, the important thing is that developers or people keep developing OS2 software and uploading it. Okay? I'm not forcing anybody to follow these rules, just to upload the stuff there, and maybe in some times I will fix it or just leave it there. I have no problem with that. So I'm not forcing anybody to follow these rules. And for me, it doesn't matter if in 10 years, me or somebody else will need to reorganize Hobbes again, because things go changing in time. So maybe what I am reorganizing right now in 10 years will be, no, this category is no longer necessary. You have to move this from there. So it doesn't matter. It will change with time. It's something that changes. Okay? So I think that's all. I always put Will Wheaton at the end of my presentations, because it's important to always, for online interactions, follow the path of Will Wheaton. Because, well, you need to be have more touch on online interactions. Yeah. So I always put this on the end. Okay.
Where is this?
Sorry.
Where is this? How do you access it?
Hobbes.
Oh, it's on Hobbes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all the stuff I have been
Okay.
doing in Hobbes
oh,
since,
same place, okay.
yeah, since last year. So if you check it, well, it's all stuff maybe you didn't need to access Hobbes in the last 2 years because it's like the same
I mean, I
stuff.
look there once in a while. So
Yeah.
is the original Hobbes stuff all still there and yours is some
No,
ancillary?
I have changed all the stuff on Hobbes.
okay.
Yeah, it's already changed.
And you're allowed to do that?
Yeah, but I don't have it, like I told you, I don't have any special access, but the archiver doesn't seem to have any problems when I'm reorganizing
Okay.
things. And I have also like wake up the archiver because I started to upload like big chunks of files and it looked like, and it stayed on the incoming directory like for 2 or 3 weeks and nothing happens, and then I say, okay, what's going on? And he started to improve the upload script so we can go faster. I think it's working like in the early morning. It wipes the incoming directory and put the files on the.
Who pays for Hobbes? Who supports it? Any idea who supports that?
It was the university.
I just wanted to raise that topic.
The university?
Hobbes is hosted on the New Mexico University.
Yeah, but who pays for the server? You know how it's funded.
We don't know that, and we
I
don't need
know.
to know that.
I sent a donation.
I think I remember it was a training project to teach
Yeah.
students how to
Yes,
do this kind of stuff, and I think it still is.
It's a required course, I hope.
Actually, 5 years ago, I did have a correspondence, and if you go to the Hobbes page and you click on it, what is a question for it? No, you know who the archiver is, right? Who goes to
Yeah,
what?
I know the archiver. Yeah.
No, but you know who has the function of archiver of Hobbes?
Well, I don't think it's like an active project of the university anymore, but it's there.
No, it still is.
Yeah, it's there.
But you know who does the job?
Yeah, I know the archiver.
No, but who is, well, I'll put it differently.
Yeah.
They don't employ somebody that works on it, but do you know who does the work then for as being the archiver?
Sorry, what?
Do you know who they put behind the computer as the
Yeah,
archiver?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, do you know him by name or what his function?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what a lot of people don't know is that they put students on the project to do the, but the thing is, I think Hobbes still needs money from time to time. I think Voice did a round of funding about 5 years ago, and we sent some money to Voice. In fact, if you click on the button somewhere, you can make a donation to Hobbes. And the last time I sent them an email, and I got a reply back after 2 months, they said they hadn't received any money. So if you want to keep Hobbes up and running, it might be a courtesy to also see if we can get some donations, because they need to buy equipment to keep the metal running. And I know that the guy that had ran up Hobbes for all those years was an advocate OS2 user, but he had to retire, and then he made a deal with the university so that it stayed alive. So maybe that's something that you could do a fundraiser on OS2World and send some money to Hobbes, because they haven't received funding for probably 5 years now. So
Yeah. The issue is that I'm not sure how they see the Hobbes project for long term.
well,
So-
if you want to prolong its future, then collect money.
Yeah,
If you just
but-
sit here and don't wait for funding.
Yeah, but if I go there and say, "Do you want money?" they're going to reply me,
Of course.
"Yes."
Yes, but.
But if I go and say, "How are you going to improve Hobbes? What are you going to do to improve it?" I'm not sure if I
No,
can
but
get a
the thing
reply.
the thing is, it's a cost on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So a manager will look, why would you buy hard drive for this project? And if we that's why they have the donation page. But as I said, my only thing I'm saying, and you can then do with that 3 to
The
5
issue is
if you
that
want,
will-
if should we as a community contribute some money to it, so that it also sends a signal to them, thank you, here's our contribution. I think that that's.
I think that we should contribute with money to Hobbes when they ask to. Yeah.
Well, they are asking. Look on their website. There's a button that says where you can make a donation and send a check dedicated to Hobbes.
Yeah, but I don't see the archiver like talking me back, asking me for I need funding right now. And I have these plans for Hobbes.
No, but
I don't have
this
that.
is not how the university works. This project is on life support. It's there. Students use it as part of their interim study at the university, and that's why it's not their full-time job. Anyway, the only thing I'm saying for the community, and then you can say whatever you want about it, if you want to keep Hobbes alive and the domain name and all of its content, it might be prudent to consider making a donation of some sort. If you have a passive attitude and say, well, then ask me what the future plans are. If they see traffic going down and they don't get sufficient funding, one day somebody will make the conclusion for you. That's how it works in university.
Yeah, the issue is that I don't have like the full communication to know the status of the project. I only talk to the archiver about how to organize the
I'm
files.
not saying that you can extend the life by being proactive. If you just sit back and don't, this is what we in the OS2 community need to do, is be proactive and talk to these people and say, hey, great, we're having this project, can we get some funding? That might also entice them. Because 5 years ago, with the donations that were made, they bought new hard drives that go into this mainframe on which Hobbes ran, and they migrated it to a new box. And that was done 5 years ago. So I don't know if that box is up for replacement in 5 or 7 years, but they need to buy new hard drives. So there is some free info that it works.
Let's see what they told me, but I don't have like full communication. Like I told you before, I have only like the external access, like everybody else, uploading files. And well, I will ask, but I'm not sure what's going on the New Mexico University. Yeah, and it's not like, well, I have been also trying to get some special access, and I never got a reply. So, well, I can keep trying, but when Hobbes need money, they send a message and the community collaborates.
Yeah, but they don't know where to send it. There is nobody sitting at the university anymore that is OS2 dedicated. They just put a student on the project that is there to learn server administration.
Well, I know that the archiver is not a student.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was a student.
No, the archiver is not like a student. Is
I have some
something
email exchanges from 5 years back where I understood that they put a student on the project that's part of his study there.
Yeah.
And after half a year or a year, he moves on to another project and another guy gets in
Yeah,
there.
but
So
I
that they
think
have
it's more like a
admin
project to learn the web language.
Somebody has to be supervising.
Yeah. The archiver is there, but it's not like his full-time job. He does a different thing, and it's just a machine running there. Okay. And we have a backup on archive, or if something happens.
Martin, I hate to burst your bubble.
Yeah.
I really do. I hate being party.
Yeah.
But honestly,
Yeah.
the reorganization has made an absolute mess of existing links to files on Hobbes. I had to go through the Arkanoe website, which is fairly young in terms of the age of the OS2 ecosphere, and fix a whole bunch of links that got broken as a result of the reorganization. Wouldn't it have been more efficient to have reorganized the sorting in a particular mirror of Hobbes, such as OS2 site, or to add symlinks to files that were already there, so they could be found in more than one place? The other problem is every time you do a re-upload of stuff, the incoming directory reports, oh look, we have a ton of new files. And then you look at the files 1993. It's not overly helpful when we're trying to find the latest version of whatever has been uploaded. That's my major criticism, and I hate to, I know that you're working hard on this, and I don't want to disparage that, but I think that the approach is misdirected.
Yeah, well, I really think that something has to be done on Hobbes. Hobbes was like, didn't have like any kind of organization and how the files were
We had a
named.
decent search engine.
What?
We had a decent search engine on Hobbes.
Yeah, it searched, but I'm not sure if you call it decent, because it searches only the name, the file name, and the short description. It doesn't search anymore.
But if you wanted to have this reorganization, why did you not just ring my front doorbell? Because you know that I've taken over the OS2 site hosting from Ian Manners, because he had to shut down the server due to issues in Australia. And OS2 site is just about a one-on-one copy of Hobbes, and it's running on a Linux box I could have given you full-blown access to.
Well, I don't have like full access to OS2 site.
No,
But you could.
Yeah.
And it's still, and I'm willing to consider doing such a thing. I mean, I host the full 400 gigabytes of the whole Hobbes archive. So if you want to do some reorganization on it, and then you can actually go a whole lot further, then you can, I can give you access to it. I've got, the Linux box is one that I run, so.
But the issue it was that Hobbes was really getting old with those files. So I just grabbed a copy. I have it on archive.org. If somebody wants to link it there, it's working there. Yeah. But the names of the files, description, just simply didn't say anything on the past. And if we want to bring Hobbes to, I don't know, to the 21st century, something has to be done. And I have been discussing this from like 2 years ago on the forum, and I haven't got any reply from you guys. So, but I will appreciate that.
Not everyone who uses Hobbes goes to the OS2World forums.
Yeah, but you will notice that I have been changing the structure and what the hell is going on, and find me there. It was easy. It was, you have a OS2World user ID.
Yes.
So, okay.
I do.
And you too? Rather bad. Well, I didn't get any feedback from you. Yeah.
Again, I appreciate the hard work that you're doing, but the unintended side effects have been overwhelming. It's great that there's an archive at archive.org, but new files going into Hobbes aren't going to go there. So now we have to search in two places to find files.
No.
Does the search engine not search the font description at all? Because the way most people link to Hobbes is they don't do a full path link. They actually link the search and then the name of the file.
Right.
Now, you put the original file name in the long description, so if the search engine did search the long description, those existing links would be able to work.
It's not, right now, it's not getting it's not searching the long description. Yeah.
I kind of hate to suggest it. Would you consider maybe putting the original file name in the short description as well? That's a little messy, but it would help with this broken link issue.
Yeah, well, let's see. I will also try, I was also going to contact the archiver to see if he can include the long description on the search.
That would probably be a more elegant solution.
Yeah.
Maybe try that first.
And if you really want to provide long-term future for Hobbes, I don't know if I still have the email communication at the times of the university about Hobbes, but the point is, if you want to keep OS2 site running, they will at a certain point probably be interested in some form of monetary support to buy new hardware. And as I said, I'd hate to see, the biggest nightmare that I have is that if Hobbes NMSU edu, that domain name goes down, you're screwed big time, because it's referenced everywhere and it's still one of the largest archives that we have. So if the university decides to take the domain name offline and throw the machine in the bit bucket, you'll see that OS2B sites go like pop turf or turn off the TV, and all of those links on the internet to Hobbes will be dead. That's why I think next to resorting, it's good to have a proactive attitude as a community and not wait and assume that it will keep us running. Do not assume. It's 2023, there are new people coming into the office, and if they see money coming in from the community, even if it's just $500, it's a gesture of goodwill. They've been giving us a gesture of goodwill for the last 20 years, and the maintainer left 10 or 15 years ago, something in that vicinity. So sending some money and using OS2World, it's the most influential website that we have. So if you ask people for some donation here, and my offer stands, if you want to do more, I can look at OS2's site and we can talk to Ian Manners, because he's currently busy at his university job in Australia for the next year or so. So what you could be doing is that it would be great if we could use the incoming directory of Hobbes again, and also get OS2's site updated, because currently Ian Manners is doing that. Well, actually he's not. So for the last contact, that was from 2020. So we could combine two things. Update OS2's site again, and maybe put some of your plans into effect there. And also try and keep OS2 Hobbes up and running, because if that domain name goes down, then we lose a lot of links that are actively everywhere, making the platform look even more dead. And I've already talked to Hobbes. They are not going to transfer the domain name or repoint it at a different directory at the time.
It's their domain name there, they don't.
So if that server is taken offline, kiss the whole domain name goodbye. I think that's something to also take into account. Sorry for the lengthy discussion.
Well, I think that the domain name nmsu.edu isn't going anywhere.
No, but the Hobbes one could.
What needs to be done with the Hobbes record is it needs to be turned into round robin DNS, so that you either get Hobbes or you get one of the active mirrors.
I talked about that, and the problem is they did, at the time at least, they didn't want to consider it, because then basically you take a domain name that's from a state university,
From the state university
and point it to a third-party
yeah.
machine.
I
And we know
understand.
where the liability discussion then starts rolling with
I
lawyers,
understand.
and the university does not do it. They've got that machine on their own server room.
Yeah.
It's under their management.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
but that's the whole problem. And really, the last thing I'd like to see disappear is Hobbes, because there are so many references to it, and you get a lot of 404s, making OS2 drop in the Google searches even further than it already does. So
Yeah, but I personally think that the links are already dead. Hobbes have made some change. They're changed to HTTPS, and they have been updating also a little bit. And I think that a lot of everything that was writing for articles wrote for OS2 on the 90s and early 2000s, they're already dead links.
This is true. I think
Yeah.
most links that were put up before they installed a new server a few years ago, they, at the same time they revamped their search engine, and a lot of those links are dead. So, again, I can't fault what Martin's going to do here. I don't think it's. I think we need to focus on moving forward from where we are now. I think there's a lot of good stuff that's being done and a lot of good ideas that are being tossed around here. Yeah, let's focus on moving forward with what we have and from where we are. It's probably the best thing.
Yeah. And like I told you, I choose this because the Hobbes was stuck in the 90s. Yeah. All that file names, all that descriptions, all the categories didn't give the data that we need, and it was very hard to just surf in the site and find something. Yeah. So with the risk of creating more dead links, I choose to
That's
try
the
to
beauty
move.
of symlinks, though.
What?
That's the beauty of symlinks.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can set symlinks to uploading the template files the way.
Yeah, well, we have a limitation that Hobbes is development of Hobbes is stuck. There are no improvements on Hobbes, and we also.
But that would be the real improvement. Would be to improve the upload template to include a group of symlinks and other file names by which that uploaded file should be recognized.
Okay.
And that would solve everyone's problem.
No, that's a good suggestion for asking the Hobbes developer to improve the site. But I'm not sure if they have funding, interest, or will.
Funds can always be found.
Yeah, but if they don't have the will,
If we don't have enough money, we can always print more.
Yeah, but but if they don't have the
Fire
will.
that baby up and let's get going.
But sometimes if you don't find the will to do something, even if you have money, they say no, it's not worth the hassle to improve the thing. Well, I honestly don't know the future of Hobbes. and
Okay,
I just have been.
to cut a long story short, are you going to start a public funding campaign for Hobbes, or do I need to do it? That's the question then. It's your choice.
I'm not going to start it for a simple reason, because I don't know if the people at Hobbes wants to improve that site. Yeah? If Hobbes goes down, OS2 site can replace it. Yeah? But I don't know the future of that place at this moment. If the archivers say, oh, we have this plan, we want to do this, and this, okay, let's raise money for that.
But have you ever sent an email to the mail address where you can send a donation to, or the archiver, and asking, do you need funding for it, yes or no? Have you ever done that?
If I ask someone, do you need money, they will say yes.
Yes.
That's the default answer.
Yes, but,
Yeah.
if the answer is yes, and they say,
We're-
well, you know, the hard drives are 5 years old.
We're running
and
out of
I need
time.
replacing
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so we're running out of time.
Okay,
for
we're
this,
going
so-
to wrap it up and
Wait.
discuss it later, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.